Safari with the Lusaba team. I'll be one of the guides for the afternoon. Ryan, Tom over there will be joining me. I've got Brandon on camera this afternoon. As you guys can probably already hear, it's quite windy today. Lots of wind, lots of cloud cover, so it might be a little bit difficult at times to hear us, but we'll do our best. Alright. As you can see, we're not on the road at the moment. We've been following a couple of bachelor boys that are heading away from us over there. Some big grey chaps, so we'll see if we can get them in view for you guys, and then we'll have a chat about them. Right. Guys, please remember, at any time, please feel free to ask any questions for any of us. If you'd like to know anything, give us a shout. Same with the other team. But yeah, let's go get in there and have a look at these ellies. Drongos, fork-tailed drongos, rather than sitting on the animals and picking parasites off of them, what they've learnt is, and what they see is, as these large animals are moving through the vegetation, they'll flush up insects, chase insects. What these drongos do is they fly down and they hawk those insects. So we'll often see them with the ellies and rhino and buffalo, just looking for a chance.
Humbling experience to be in the presence of these guys, as you can imagine, and as some of you would have experienced before. But yeah, quite interesting to see as that guy walked past us there. I'm not sure if you noticed, but he dropped the majority of what he was eating out of his mouth, which is quite interesting. And at this time of year, rather, we're starting to see them kind of changing and adapting to the time of year. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of these trees and the vegetation withdrawing nutrients and storing it in the roots for the winter, which means these guys have to now, as I say, change their feeding kind of strategy, I guess you could say. So what he did there was he actually peeled the bark off of that piece of that branch that he was busy eating off of, and in doing so, he's accessing the nutrients that's stored within the cambium layer, which is just the inner layer of the bark. Actually matter on the inside, and as I said, we see that more and more often now, going for that cambium specifically, and often debarking massive big trees, using their tusks to make incisions on the bark, peeling off the outer layer, accessing that cambium, and of course also, as you guys will see as we drive through here, lots of damage, trees being uprooted so that they can access those roots. So just fascinating to see how they actually adapt and change season to season.
guys can notice how dry it's starting to look, how much further we can see into the bush now. Alright, lots of the vegetation falling away.
Starting to rain.
Starting to rain.
Not going to be fun.
So it seems there's a few more than we thought. A couple more down in the drainage line in front of us, which is quite nice. Now people often think they only use their trunks when feeding, but I'm sure you noticed there he used his foot as well. Just pulled that piece of vegetation, it wouldn't snap nicely, so he simply stood on it and then used his weight to break it. We'll often see them obviously digging up roots with those feet, using those massive toes to kick up nicely, to dig nicely. And obviously they use their tusks as well, as we've seen how they break the branches.
Question, guys, what do elephants do when there is bad weather around?
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things that they just have to deal with. There's not too much hiding an elephant can do. So generally, it also depends on the time of year. So now having this bit of rainfall coming in is quite unusual for us at this time of year. It is winter. We normally don't get much rain in winter, often none at all. So for now it's cold. It's not going to necessarily be enjoyable for them. But often if we have these big kind of thunderstorms coming through in summer and lots of rain and mud, a lot of the animals, especially like the elephants, who normally take quite a beating from the sun, they love it. You often see this incredible response to rain, where you might see them playing in puddles and playing with each other, and it can be quite a joyous experience for them. But I think like for us, cold, miserable, it's not too fun at this time of year at least. So yeah, they just keep doing what they're doing. They'll keep feeding. You'll find certain animals, might look for shelter in thicker bush, thicker vegetation. But as I said, for the elephants, there's not too many places they can go to hide. So they just weather the storm, and that's that's how it goes.
Yeah, I think just to add to that, if anything at the moment that would irritate them would probably be the wind. A lot of the animals, remember, have incredible hearing, big ears, elephants especially, and so that can be a bit irritating. And so sometimes when you have strong winds and things like that, they'll move down into drainage lines and so on, try to protect their ears from that.
Yeah. Getting this guy feeding
good reason. We're going to be handing over to Trev and the guys. They've got a nice surprise for you. Hopefully we'll see you again later.
See you later, guys.
Yep.
Afternoon, everybody. We've been working in the river this afternoon, Stewie and I and Brad and Janine. We had alarm calls, giraffe staring, and we found the day one male. He's with a hyena here and he's been hunting a little bit, so we're going to do our best to follow him. Everybody, stick with us. Watch your heads, everybody. Come on, my side.
All good?
The hyena's on the left hand side. You can see over here on the left is the hyena. He's picked up his scent and naturally will follow the leopard as an opportunity to perhaps, if the leopard does hunt. He heard the bushbuck alarm calling. You can just see the hyena spotted him now. Moving through the bush, you can see how he's picks up his ears and he's focusing on all the gaps under the bushes and what have you. He's definitely having a look in the area for other bushbuck, perhaps, or other antelope that have been moving through here. We saw him attempt to chase on a bushbuck, but he missed it. He just stops every now and then to listen. Going back down to the road there. Right, he has to. Gone through there. And our hyena is still on our left. I'll go around there. I think we're good here. Around if you can.
Got it?
Up in the front there. Might head down back towards the river. Yeah, it's got a see the habitat type that these shy secretive cats prefer. That's what always makes it a fun challenge for us to try find them. We're going to get a good gap soon. Careful of the branches. Let's wait and see if he comes along here. Try and mash it. Now let's just wait and see. Folks, what we'll do is heading along the river here. We should get some more visual of him now. But this male is, some of you may recognize him or know him. It's the day one male. He's a fairly old male. And in these cold, windy conditions, or perfect hunting conditions, you get a nice view of him there. You see a bit of a scar above his eye.
It's looking a bit dirty. He's probably been down in the river, trying to stalk through some of the riverbank there, where all this dense vegetation is, trying to get as close as he can before launching that ambush on the bushbuck. He was about 10 meters from them. Unfortunately, they got wind of him and ran off before he could get close.
You often see with their body language, as Stewie was laughing there, he looked like he was going to stalk and then just raised his tail. It's almost like a surrender sign sometimes. We've still got the hyena following there.
I think there might have been some francolins here that he saw, and then they saw him and he just put his tail up. Remind me, not after francolins today.
Try and get around him. Yeah, the hyenas up in front there, we'll see if they do meet up. But generally they'll try and avoid each other. Or the leopard will try and avoid him for any unnecessary battle wounds. You can see already when you walk past there the scars on him. The Ravenscourt male's pretty much ousted him of his territory. However, he's sort of still in the prime area for the Ravenscourt male's territory. So he's got to duck and dive near the competition.
The hyena knows exactly what's going on. He's keeping one step ahead of him. Just paused here.
When I go down there, guys.
Coming on the spot here. Come down, we'll get a nice view of him.
There we go. Get a very nice view of him there. He's on the constant lookout for opportunity, in weather like this. It's really windy and that use these opportunities to hunt. He might just pass at the back of us there.
maybe potential prey might not pick up on his presence, but also they can't hear what's going on around them, so it might enable him to stalk closer than usual and get in within that range of launching a potential ambush attack.
See how he goes into all these little thickets and investigates perhaps a yala or a bushbuck or great acre trying to hide away from the wind. He might have the opportunity to sniff that out. It's going to be particularly challenging now.
Trev, just a question from one of the viewers. How old is Devon now?
So he's not a dominant male at the moment. So his life now is literally ducking and diving. Particularly the Ravenscourt male and potentially any other young male leopards that are competing for territory. So sort of living a survival life now, even though that he'll still behave instinctively to hunt and that. But he's playing with fire in this particular area here with if he bumps into a younger, stronger male. I think he's already had a few run-ins, you can see by the marks on his head. Fighting already. We're going to wait a little bit here for him. And for the folks that possibly haven't visited areas like us, you may have noticed we are very fortunate that we can go off-road. So we're always very cautious where we go, and also watching his behavior is hunting. So we also don't want to disturb him too much from an ethical point of view. And this is the such important teamwork between ranger and tracker, of where you're driving, what you're going to drive through, and that's what we thrive on, working together. One, it obviously gives you guys such phenomenal sightings, but secondly, to do it in the most ethical way, properly.
There's something fairly large just down ahead of us here in the bushes. Can't quite see what it is, but perhaps he's paused there and he's watching across the drainage here to see what it is.
I see an elite trunk.
You see an elephant trunk.
So we've got an elephant that's joined him now, so we'll head down this path, Stu. Let's see if he comes out that side. looks like a young elephant bull on our left hand side here. Let's wait and see if he comes through.
This was his path between this apple leaf over there and that one. So
We'll definitely know if the elephant does see him. We'll possibly trumpet and chase him, and then we'll know where he is. But we'll see. Hopefully he'll come through here. Always exciting, you know, a little bit earlier before we came live, we were sitting with Giraffe, and again, Giraffe staring. The next thing, bushbuck alarm calling. And again, putting our skills and teamwork together is how we managed to find him, which is always so exciting. And then obviously who it is. And with day one, he's got a very particular white scar in his eye here. Many people ask, how do we know the difference between the leopards? Generally, males are bigger than females, and they've got distinct spot patterns just above the whisker line. Some have 3 and 2, so that's one of the ways of doing it. 4-head spot patterns. We also look at territories and where they may be. Sometimes track size is also something that we look at. But at the moment up in the river, it's been very interesting that we've got quite a few nomadic leopards, as well as older males like the Darwin male that's been ousted, and the Ravenscourt male, so theoretically the dominant male. So he's got his work seriously cut out for himself, and it's interesting times. However, the Ravenscourt male really needs to step up his game and make sure that those territories, his females that he's mating within, are safe from these males. Instinctively, these males, including the Darwin male and younger males, will kill the cubs or females instinctively, because there's the leopard there. Sorry, I've just seen him now.
he's sneaking off.
His camouflage is ridiculous.
Nice.
I just caught him out the corner of my eye. We'll get another view now.
Good stuff. Trev, I know you were just chatting about it now, but viewers just asked, how many adult male leopards do we have on our property currently?
It's a very good question. You know, at the moment,
Swing that way. Yeah.
I'll answer your question now. Let's just get a view.
Yeah. Left hand all the way down if you can. Going past that fallen log.
Yeah, you're good. There he is over there on the left-hand side. Going to get a nice view of him there walking by now. So you can just see, you know, with the day one male in particular, you can see his condition is not as bulky as what he would have been 4 or 5 years ago. And to answer the question about the number of males at the moment, we think that there's at least 3 sub-adult males that are living a nomadic life at the moment, that have been moving around, that we've seen. We have the Darwin male, who's an older male now, that's ousted. The Ravenscourt male, without a doubt, is the dominant male. Down in the south, we also have a new young male that's sort of showing dominance. So at the moment, quite a few young nomadic males, as I was talking about earlier, can cause potential problems for females raising their cubs if the dominant male is not keeping them out. They are going to be a threat to raising their youngsters. Just incredible, the camouflage, how you can just disappear so easily.
Trevor, another question. Who names all these animals?
Well, the important thing is we definitely don't want to put cartoon names or human names towards them. A lot of these animals are named after areas they were born in, and we generally chat amongst the guides in the sector. There's 6 lodges that we all work with, and we chat about it, especially when they're coming of age. The day one male, he's named after a riverbed that he was often found in. Tlangisa, as an example, she was just had an incredible character, as which means the playful one. Basile means the pale one. So a lot of these things are discussed as a sector, and that's how we name them. Get one more good look at him, and we'll let him be and let him hunt without our presence here. There he goes.
Crossing over
Yeah.
from one thicket into another, rather than moving along the open road.
Stewie makes a very interesting point there, and this is a typical behavior sometimes of a leopard like the day one male, who's now not territorial, almost duck and dive. We don't see him behaving territorially anymore. And as Stewie was saying, you see, he doesn't stay on the road very long. Often males that are marking territory will stay on the road, use it as a boundary, scent mark on trees, and also, you know, almost the path of less resistance when it comes to marking territory. Where you notice his behavior, he always sort of seems like he's ducking and diving, that something may be there. And mentioning again about the scars on his head, he's definitely had a few scraps.
Yeah, so that's obviously been persuading him to keep to the shadows again and resume that nomadic lifestyle that he may once have had as a younger male. So full circle, coming back around now. Off he goes. He's
I think what
melted into the bushes.
folks, we're going to let him be and let him do what he does naturally. You can see by his behavior we didn't have too much of an influence in his presence, but we can see what he's trying to do. And I think once we've always had a great sighting of an animal, we'd prefer to let them be naturally. We're going to continue along the river and see what else we can find this afternoon. I really hope you enjoyed that. It's always exciting for us when we do put the puzzle together. I think Stu was bouncing around like he had just had about 10 Red Bulls when he found him. So that for us is always so exciting. And so yeah, we'll let him be. Let's bumble along the rivets, make the most of the rest of the afternoon. When we're all driving together again, working as a team. You know, we all thrive in teamwork and the fun of rangers and trackers working together. So when we start out on drive, generally we discuss routes that we go. There's not, you know, every time we head out on drive, it's the unknown that makes us so excited. You know, Stewie and I chatting this afternoon, and we're thinking, okay, where are we going to go? Chat with the other guys, and you know, that's the vibe we love having here. And we're really looking forward to having that back hopefully soon. Some oxpeckers flying over. Let's have a look at well spotted, Stu. There's a nice giraffe over there. There again, you know, we've spoken about it in past weeks where we talking about listening to birds and signs. Stewie quickly pointed to me about the oxpeckers flying off. We couldn't see the giraffe, and there you go. There's some impala in the background as well.
How we led to the day one sighting as well. You know, we pick up on signs, tracks, and audio of other animals in the bush, and move in to try and investigate further. And yeah, we were very happy to have found day one there at that time. That was a great little micro mission put together there.
And in the last few weeks, we've often spoken about tracks and signs and giving you guys a bit of a test. But for you watching now, we'll give you a little test. We've spoken a lot about the ossicones on a giraffe to identify male or female. So that one walking away now, for those of you, you let us know if it's a male or female and we'll get back to you. Stuart promises he'll buy you a drink if you get the answer right.
You might have to take them a little bit closer.
Vincent ducked his head behind the bush.
Get some finer detail.
There you go. Afternoon.
There go the oxpeckers again.
While they're scaring themselves. There all the oxpeckers land again, coming in to groom the giraffe.
Trevor's somewhat setting you all up. These are two younger giraffes, so sometimes it's not as easy as with the older giraffe, mature giraffe to tell. But therein also lies a clue, what I've just said.
You may have also noticed in the background where the impala ran that their coats seemed quite dark today. And that's because of the temperature here. They have the ability to lift their coats to be darker, a bit like a black t-shirt versus a white t-shirt. The black absorbing more heat to keep them warm, and on a warm day they flatten it out to be lighter to reflect heat. Brad, are there any answers there yet, or do we need to give more clues?
Yeah, we have a few have said male.
Male.
Yeah, and
Okay.
there's a few that said female as well, and I think that's where Stu was. Yeah, it's a bit tough with the hair on top of the horns. Yeah, they're young.
Yeah, but it's a little bit like me. I'm almost at that stage now, so there's still a little bit of hair, but generally bald.
So over time, young males will start to lose the hair over the tips of those ossicones, and you'll see the balding spots starting to become a bit more prominent. So,
Are you talking about me now, the giraffe?
well, I'm generalizing. Yeah.
So yes, that was a male giraffe, a young one. Stu will buy you a drink when you come and visit, he promises.
Pink gin and tonics and amarillas.
Yeah, easy. Stewie's type of drink. Yeah. Alright, let's let them be, Stewie. towards the riverbed. See perhaps what the other team are up to at the moment. But we've got a couple more minutes ahead of us here. See what we can take in. Beautiful big tree that we've often featured. It's the lovely big sycamore fig, also known as the postman's tree. And coming down to the river crossing here, perhaps have a look what's down here. To be a trickle in some places, but it's still a life source for all the animals through the next couple of months until our rainy season in November again. It's flowing with quite a little bit of force for this time of the year, so that's a very good thing.
Someone was asking about
look on the sides here at the amount of tracks and signs for all sorts of animals as they've made their way down for a drink and to cross through to the other side. Hive of activity here, draws a lot of attention all up and down the river.
One of the viewers noticed some burnt felt.
Yes, that burnt area there is actually a fire break. So obviously coming into the fire season, it's very dry at this time of the year, and as we get into the months of August, September, we get a lot of winds and the heat picks up, so we use sections of the reserve to burn fire breaks just to protect the areas. Now, fire plays a very, very important role in the bush. In an area like this, we have to control fire because of infrastructure, as well as different areas that don't need burning. It's very important because we get what we call moribund grass, which happens is dead grass matter from previous seasons that die off, and it covers the roots, and that the new roots in the rainy season don't get exposed to the sun to photosynthesize. So we'll burn it off, and those new roots are exposed to sun to produce fresh foliage in that. But that particular burn section that you saw there's purely for a fire break. We also went through drought in the last few years, so we do an analysis in the area of fuel loads, which means how much grass is there to burn. We go on a history as well, so from an ecological point of view, it's definitely well studied. You know, in big, huge wilderness areas, lightning often causes natural fires, which is important in the bush. In areas like this, we manage it quite carefully, purely because it's an ecotourism area, but a lot of studies do go involved into it. You may hear these birds that are flying there. That's the Hardydar ibis.
Very melodious.
Well, I enjoy my birds, as do all of us. We're really quite keen on our birding. But if there's one bird that I could say I could do without, it's probably that one.
Yeah, that's about the closest city bird we get.
Especially at 4 o'clock in the morning, just before your alarm goes, before the morning game drive, and that flies over the roof of your house. Wakes you up pre-alarm. That's just the worst feeling.
Folks, we're gonna start to say goodbye, and we're gonna give you a few minutes to enjoy the views of the river. But on Friday is World Ranger Day, and we're gonna be taking your guys' questions. So I know there's been a post out on our page about it, so drop your questions there, and we're gonna have a bit of Q&A session with the team and a bit of fun, and have a chat to you guys and answer questions about it and expand a little bit about how we celebrate and what World Ranger Day is about. Which should be a little bit of fun, and that'll be posted up on Friday. So from me, we hope you had a great afternoon and enjoyed it with us. It's been great fun.
Yeah,
And we look forward to seeing you next week. Have a wonderful week.
Cheers, everybody. Thanks for